Welcome. This video is about your annotated bibliography. This will be your research assignment for the semester for English 2. And what we are going to focus on this semester is in a human rights annotated bibliography. So annotated bibliography is just a little bit different from a research paper. It will still give you all of the elements you need to create a research paper, but instead of creating that formal research paper, you will be gathering resources and writing about those resources that you have collected. So your focus is going to be on human rights, and you will be allowed the opportunity to choose your topic under that umbrella of human rights. Now, as you go through this process, we will take you step by step. And as always, remember to contact your teacher if you have any questions at any point of the modules. You will be required to go through the modules in order, which means you aren't going to be able to go to the end and submit something. Each day you have a set of activities to complete. So let's take a few moments and go through the assignment itself. So you will research a human rights issue from around the world, and you will create an annotated bibliography based on 4 pre-approved resources. So we are working to help you find resources that are valid, that are reliable, that are current, and that are authoritative. So we're going to require 4 specific types of resources. One will be a news article from the Human Rights Watch website, which we'll review in just a moment. One will be a discovery education source that can actually be found directly in Canvas. You will be required to find one newspaper or magazine source from a database, and you will be required to have one encyclopedia source from a database. So 4 required sources. At no time will you randomly Google your topic. Let me repeat that. At no time will you randomly Google your topic. So just to make that clear, these are your 4 approved source types. In terms of formatting, you will follow MLA format, and as we go through the modules, you'll learn more about that each day. You will include at least one direct quote in each annotation with proper citation, and we're going to teach you how to do that. You will need an introduction and conclusion to your annotated bibliography. The introduction will focus on what you want to learn and why you think the human rights issue you have chosen is important to study. Your conclusion will explain what you learned during the research process itself about the human rights issue, as well as what you learned about the research process. Here is your rubric. This will also be found in Canvas. Your quantity of sources. Just for having the 4 sources as outlined, you will receive 10 points. Now, if you're missing documents or resources, or if you don't use the 4 pre-approved resource types, then you will have points deducted. The quality and reliability of the sources. Well, if you're using the 4 that we have given you, you will be given 10 points. So that's free 10 points if you simply use the resources that we have provided for you. Next, writing fluency or annotation. So notice this is worth more points. So these are your paragraphs. They're thoughtful, complete, and well written. In that well written, we're including no grammatical errors. So make sure that you proofread, and again, we'll go through the drafting process so that we can clean up any errors they may be. And then finally, MLA and documentation. That's another 15 points. So everything has to be formatted correctly, and you have to have those citations. So we're going to make sure that you practice that MLA format. The reason we're doing the annotated bibliography is to give you a taste of research to prepare you for English 3. In English 3, you will be expected to be more independent in your research methods and strategies, and we want to make sure that you are introduced to them well during English 2. So next, writing an annotated bibliography. We're actually going to come to this document a little bit later, but I did want to introduce you to it. So basically what you do for an annotated bibliography is you write a good paragraph about whether or not the source would be a good one to use if you were writing a research paper. So in your first 3 sentences, you're going to write a brief summary of the item itself, whether it's a news article, an encyclopedia article, or perhaps a video, just a quick summary. And then your next 4 sentences or so, you will choose 2 or 3 of these following items to evaluate the resource. In other words, would it be a good resource for someone to use? So you might go in and look at the author's background. Does that author have experience with the topic? Discuss any limitations the item may have in terms of being current. How current is it? That's looking at the timeliness of it. If it's something done in the last year, that's going to be very current. So it would be up to date. If it's something from 5 or 10 years ago, it may not be as current, it may not be as useful. Discuss if you have visual elements. Are those helpful? And it is okay if you find a source that maybe you wouldn't use in a research paper. And it's okay to talk about that. In fact, we want you to. The whole purpose of this is to evaluate. You might find one resource that's a dud. So what does it look like? It looks like this. You will put in your citation, and as we go through each source, we'll show you how to get that citation, and then you have your paragraph. So let's look at a sample one. For this, we are going to ask you to do a title page. In MLA, you don't always have to do a title page, but for this, we're going to have you do that. You'll have your name, your English teacher's name, English 2, and then the date. Notice this one's older. The student has long graduated, and the student has put the title in the middle of the page, and then a little picture. If you want to put a picture, you can. It goes along with your human rights issue. And then the writer has her introduction. And notice in this annotated bibliography, the student has used I here at the end. I hope to learn the history of women's rights and reasons why women were not seen as leaders. So it is okay in your introduction and your conclusion to use I, especially since we are asking you what you have learned, what you would like to learn in the process. And then the writer has put in a heading for the type of resource, and we'll provide you a template for all of this. And then their citation, their paragraph. We're actually going to make sure that you have everything double spaced. For this particular year, we were printing, and so we were trying to conserve paper, and we asked students to single space. And then they have their next source labeled with the citation and the paragraph. And then at the end, the writer has the conclusion. So again, we will provide a template for you so that you can simply make a copy and then put in the elements that you need. Now, in terms of where you're getting your topic ideas from, you're going to come to this Human Rights Watch website. And then what you're going to do is scroll down to topics. And let's say you are interested in the environment. So you want to look at human rights issues concerning the environment. So they have a quick little blurb here, a short summary of what you might find in the environment in terms of human rights issues. But then if you scroll down, you'll find some videos, you'll find some reports. Now the reports are long, they are very formal. So where we want you to go is to the news articles, and you're going to click on one of them and just see what you think. So in terms of choosing a topic, this is where you will explore. You can look through any of these topics that you might be interested in and see, look at some of their videos, look at some of their reports, their photos, and see what you might be interested in. So again, this video to review is explaining your human rights annotated bibliography, what your requirements are, what the exact assignment is. This will be your research project for English 2. Then we reviewed what the requirements are in your annotations themselves, in those paragraphs. And then we reviewed a student sample. And finally, we took a brief glimpse at the website you're going to use to choose your topic. As always, if you have any questions, please contact your teacher. And at the end of this presentation, you'll click the Next button in your module to take a quick quiz about what you just viewed in this presentation.